Well, hey friends, welcome back to Cinematic Scripture, where I help spiritually curious Christians watch attentively, reflect spiritually, and lead from story. I'll be right here. A simple phrase said by a little friendly alien with a glowing finger. We know him as E.T. But this statement is more than a farewell. It's presence and it's a promise. A quiet assurance that love doesn't vanish, it dwells. And somehow, that glowing finger, that blooming sunflower, that childlike holding ache in one hand and wonder in the other, reminds us that the holy isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Because story doesn't argue, story enters, it heals, and it teaches us to feel again. And what if that's not just sentiment? What if it's theology? This is Cinematic Scripture, where faith and film get a seat at the same table. I'm Kyle Harless. Let's roll film. All right. So today we're stepping into one of the most intimate and transcendent movies ever told from a child's point of view. Number 6 in my top 10 countdown is E.T. Yes, the one with the Reese's Pieces, my favorite candy, flying bikes, and a glowing finger. But beneath it all is a gentle tale about loneliness, healing, and learning to feel again. And what if miracles don't demand proof? They just ask to be felt. Let's dive in. All right, so the story structure of E.T. It's set in the quiet edges of suburbia. E.T. opens in shadow and wonder. Aliens wander through a forest collecting samples before fleeing, leaving one behind, afraid, alone, and stranded. This is E.T. Meanwhile, Elliot lives in his own emotional shadow. He's isolated from his siblings, abandoned by his father, and adrift in a home where no one quite hears him. Their connection comes gently. E.T. hides in the shed. Elliot brings him candy. And the two begin to understand each other without needing many words. They laugh together. They hurt together. They almost die together. And later, they rise together. As government agents close in and loss threatens everything, Elliot has to learn that love isn't always about holding on. It's also about letting go. And E.T. returns home, while Elliot discovers that he's never been more seen. Now, whenever we want to look at film, we want to allow film to speak, faith and film to speak in dialogue together. We want to start with the film and see what the film says before we bring theology in. So let's look at the narrative lens of E.T. All right, so the narrative lens of E.T., letting the story speak first. E.T. speaks in light and shadow, in silence and in awe. It doesn't tell us how to feel. It invites us to remember what feeling was like before we forgot. Elliot begins the story guarded, smart-mouthed, and alone. But E.T. changes that, simply by being present. By observing and by feeling alongside him, E.T. points to Elliot's heart and says, ouch. The word is simple, but its repetition in the story makes it meaningful. Because the story shows us that connection doesn't demand explanation. It only asks for empathy. E.T. touches wounds. He watches television and he mimics emotions. He dies, he revives, and he boards the ship that takes him home. And in one quiet moment, as his chest glows and a sunflower blooms again, E.T. shifts from whimsical to profound. It isn't spectacle, it's intimacy. And that shift is what makes E.T. more than a childhood film. It's also a story about what happens when someone dares to feel with you. Let's look at the theme of E.T. So E.T. deals with the themes of control, vulnerability, and letting love heal. You could frame the theme of E.T. As a controlling idea. You could say it like this. Love teaches us to feel, and wonder reminds us not to let go of what we found. See, Elliot's journey isn't so much about growing up It's more about softening. He doesn't become tougher. He becomes braver by being tender. Elliot risks feeling deeply. He chooses to love. He chooses to lose. And in doing so, Elliot becomes whole. E.T. doesn't fix Elliot's broken home, but he transforms what that home means. Gertie changes, his sister. Michael, his older brother, sacrifices. His mother, Mary, begins to listen. And even the faceless adult labeled as Keys begins to believe. See, Elliot begins isolated, but ends mirrored in everyone around him. So the theme deals with the idea of love, of connection, vulnerability, and letting love heal. And the controlling idea is love teaches us to feel, and wonder reminds us not to let go of what we found. Now let's engage E.T. biblically. All right, so engaging E.T. biblically. Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." It's Matthew 19:14. See, E.T., it's really told from a child's perspective. If you notice, Mary is the only adult that we actually see who she is. Most adults are shown from the waist down until they break into the house, and then we see Keys' face and we see some doctors. But E.T. very much has a childlike wonder to it. And so because of that, it really gives some freedom. So for instance, E.T. doesn't explain miracles. It allows us to feel them through the eyes of a child, through simple acts of kindness, through tenderness that risks everything. It's very childlike in how it's portrayed and in the wonder of it. The story takes place in a world of emotional dusk, absent fathers, distracted mothers, cold institutions. But then when E.T. shows up, wonder arrives. And suddenly the frogs are free in a hilarious, funny moment with Elliot and E.T. feeling each other, the emotions of each other. The frogs are free. The flower blooms again. And connection, not control, but connection starts to shape reality. I think in a lot of ways that's not fiction. That's kingdom. That connection starts to shape reality. It's our connection to Christ that shapes us. And so E.T., the story moves from not just fiction but to kingdom as well. In a lot of ways, E.T. becomes a Christ figure in this story. Not by force, but by choice. Again, he heals, he dies, and he resurrects. And he leaves a promise to Elliot. I'll be right here. And because E.T. showed up, Elliot and all around him are ultimately changed. And so there is some evidence there for a Christ figure. So in the idea of gauging with E.T. biblically, we do need to bring in our 3-question framework, and that's what we're going to turn to now. All right, so our 3-question framework. First question, is the main theme redemptive? So let's review the theme again. The controlling idea, love teaches us to feel, and wonder reminds us not to let go of what we've found. So is the theme redemptive? Yes. E.T., it enhances. It doesn't distort, it enhances. So it's redemptive. What begins in isolation becomes a story of belonging. Elliot starts emotionally walled off, but through E.T.'s quiet presence, Elliot begins to learn that love isn't proved, it's shared. Okay? Fear gives way to connection. Every character touched by this unlikely friendship is changed, not by spectacle or by force, but through simple empathy. Healing begins to happen, not by avoiding pain, but by feeling the pain together. So this is redemptive. It enhances. It shows that connection is important. What realm is the story set in? E.T. is set in the realm of transition. It's set in a world of emotional dusk. It's guarded, it's gray, and it's unsure. Elliot's environment it's a fractured family. There's unseen pain. There's skeptical adults. It feels dimly lit. But E.T., he carries that spark of change. There's, again, moments of wonder throughout this film, like the sunflower blooming or bikes soaring over midnight to the incredible, incredible score. That music. I can just stay on that. Let's just keep going. But the bike soaring over the moonlight, it whispers that something sacred is nearby. It's It almost is transcends if you allow it, if you'll open yourself up to it. But it's in this realm of transition. Even the agents pursuing E.T., again, Keys, he begins to soften. So even the cynical begin to believe it's this transition. It's not the kingdom yet. It's not yet kingdom. But the door opens, and we stand at the threshold of light as this door opens. So the third question we want to ask, does the film communicate truth? Absolutely it does. E.T. tells the truth. It shows us that to feel deeply is not weakness. But for Elliot, it brings salvation. To feel deeply is not weakness, but salvation. The goodbye isn't final. The idea that miracles often come quietly, not as answers, but as presence. E.T.'s presence was a miracle in Elliot's life. Elliot's growth is not in solving a problem, but in being willing to risk tenderness. And when E.T. points to his heart and he says, "I'll be right here," we are reminded that love, when given freely, outlasts absence. This is truth that doesn't preach at us, but it dwells with us through this relationship of Elliot and E.T. E.T. doesn't teach us to understand. E.T. teaches us to wonder, to feel, to open our hearts, even if it means risking the ouch. In a world that often hides behind screens and sarcasm, E.T. asks if we remember what it was like to believe with our whole selves. Not to explain everything, just to be present, to say yes, and maybe to look up. See, as I sit with E.T., as I sit with this story, I'm struck by how much E.T. is filmed from an eye level with children. It's not just stylistic, but there's a deeper theological aspect here. Because the story asks, what do the lonely see that the proud overlook? It reminds us that mystery isn't something to fear, it's something to follow. So I think what this story is saying is that being known is sacred. That vulnerability, that shared pain and shared joy is how transformation begins. That sometimes resurrection arrives not in lightning and thunder, but in a single sunflower blooming again. What does this story stir in me? I begin to see all the places I've treated closeness like a risk, that I've guarded myself and pushed people out just to protect myself from being hurt again. And it's the moments that I've chosen to guard instead of give. It stirs that in me about the moments that I've chosen to guard instead of give. And the fear that being open might cost me something I'm not ready to let go, or that I don't have any more to give. It stirs in me. It asks me, where have I done this? How does Scripture respond? How should I respond? Well, Luke 18 says, "Let the little children come to me, for the kingdom belongs to such as these." And 1 John 4 says, "Perfect love drives out fear." And then finally in John 14, Jesus says, "I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you." So maybe what I should do, maybe the most faithful thing I can do today isn't to try and fix my loneliness, to guard myself, to protect myself, but to stop pretending that my loneliness doesn't exist. Maybe it's to let myself be seen, to share my ache, and to welcome the one who always says, "I'll be right here." Thanks again for wandering through E.T. with me. This is one of my favorite films. I was watching it again recently to prepare for this. I was just crying. I'm just sitting on my couch, man. When those bikes come and the kids soar over the cop cars and they're flying in the sky, I'm like on cloud nine with the theme, and I'm just loving it. And then when he's at the spaceship and he's singing about Elliot, I'm just crying on my couch, and my kids are like, "Dad, what's wrong with you?" And I'm like, E.T. is just so beautiful. Love this film. So good. So thanks for joining me to dive into one of my favorite films. If this story awakens something in you, share it. Send it to someone who might need it. Leave a review. It really does help people find this to dive into it. Let's keep listening for the sacred beneath the cinematic, all right? Until next time, I'm Kyle, and this is Cinematic Scripture. Watch attentively, reflect spiritually, lead from story, because discipleship lives in what we pay attention to, and it's in the narrative that we choose to enter. I'll see you next time.